Tonight on the Pioneers Sideline, we take a look at who the men's soccer team will be facing in the NAIA National Tournament. Then we have a look at how the volleyball and basketball teams did as well. And as always, we finish up with a case of the week. All that and more as we head on down to the Pioneers Sideline. Welcome to the Pioneers Sideline. I'm your host, Chris Hoffman. The men's soccer team is in the NAIA National Tournament for the second year in a row, and Tim Hardy has the report on who they are going to play this year.
Well, the Point Park men's soccer team had a great season, but before they get to the national tournament opening round, they will have to face the number 2 Rio Grande to be able to advance. The Pioneers faced them early in the season and lost to them 6-0. If Point Park wins this game, they will move on to the national tournament final site, which is in Montgomery, Alabama. Also, the all-conference team was announced for the KIAC, GCAC, and 3 Point Park Pioneers made, being Matt Ziak, Dante Lukes, and Usman Jetta. Also, the Coach of the Year was the Pioneers' one and only Jodon Walstra, and the Defensive Player of the Year was Matt Ziak.
Tim, they're playing a team in Rio Grande that they've already played this year. Do you think this helps the Pioneers at all with the taking this tournament here, with having played this team already?
I think it gives them a bit of experience, so it shows a lot for them, and they'd be able to find ways to maybe get like a blueprint from what they lost to earlier in the season.
Tim, you see there that the Pioneers also, they have a young roster too, and it was loaded with people that were all-conference, an all-conference coach in Jodon Walstra as well. How much does that really help this team in the IA National Tournament?
It gives a lot of players a lot of experience being young, and I think it gives them a confidence boost. They go into this game, got a lot of young talent, and Eagles really drive this team, so I think it really will help them later on going into this tournament.
Tim, now, what do you think this team will be able to do? They have a lot of players returning from last year's team that also made it to the NAIA National Tournament as well.
I think it will really be really smart for them for just having a lot of players from last year into this year's team. It brings a lot of experience firsthand. And also, I think it brings a lot more just people who knows the situation and what to do. So I think the more experience, the better.
Now, Tim, what do you think the Pioneers can do this year? They got a quick exit last year. Do you think they can make a deeper run this year and maybe even have a shot at winning it all?
Well, you would want to think Point Park might beat Rio Grande, but they was now they're number 2. They was number 3 in the whole NAIA. So it's going to be really tough. I would hope to win, but I don't know if they're going to really go that far against this team.
All right, thanks, Tim. Courtney Jodon now joins me in studio with this week's Regional Sports Report. Courtney, what did we see in a very busy weekend for the Berg this past weekend with Pitt, the Steelers, and the Penguins all playing?
This week in regional sports, the Pittsburgh Steelers pulled off a 37-27 victory at Heinz Field on Sunday, November 17th, against the Detroit Lions. The second quarter of the game was huge for the Lions, putting up nearly 400 yards of total offense by the end of the first half. But the Steelers' defense locked down the second half, and Ben Roethlisberger threw 4 touchdowns to go along with 367 yards through the air. Antonio Brown was a main player in the game as well, snagging 7 catch for 147 yards and 2 scores. This victory gives the Steelers a 2-game winning streak and leaves them just 1 game back in the race for the second AFC wildcard berth. The next 2 upcoming games for the Steelers are critical. They are up against 2 team rivals. Cleveland and Baltimore, both games are essential to win if they want to excel into the playoffs. And moving on to the Pittsburgh Penguins, they faced 4 games since our last episode of Sideline. On Wednesday, November 13th, they faced the Philadelphia Flyers, but lost 2-1. The Flyers scored right at the end and the first period, but then with 11 minutes into the second period, Crosby put the Penguins on the board. But then Braden Shen got his second goal of the night, leading the Flyers to their victory. And on Friday, November 15th, the Penguins faced the Nashville Predators and pulled off a 4-1 victory. The Predators' Gabriel Burke scored right as the first period started, but that was the only goal for the night for them. With 4 goals made by the night by Pascal Dupuis, James Neal scoring 2 goals in the end of the first period, and then Chris Letang and Brandon Sutter scoring in the second period. This gave the Penguins a 3-goal lead, which led to their victory. And on Saturday, November 16th, they faced a 4-1 loss by the New Jersey Devils. Andy Green of the Devils scored at the end of the first period, but Chris Kunitz bounced back with a goal in the beginning of the second period. Adam Larson then scored towards the end of the second period. Following second period, Jaromir Jagr scored twice in the third period, leading the Devils to their victory of the Penguins. And Monday night, the 18th, the Penguins faced the Anaheim Ducks for the very intense game, with the first and second periods remaining scoreless until the third. Coach Dan Bylsma decided to change up his line since the Penguins' offense has been in sort of a slump. Bylsma put Evgeny Malkin and rookie Brian Gibbons on the ice together for the first time. This was Gibbons' first game, and he definitely showed that he belongs to this team. Gibbons converted a slick backhand pass from Malkin for his first NHL goal in 3 minutes into the third period, which was the first goal of the night. That's so surprising. And then Brandon Sutter scored 5 minutes into the third period, and right after Sutter's goal, Anaheim Ryan Getzlaf scored to put them on the board. And then Sidney Crosby came out of the woodwork and scored 8 minutes into the third period, giving them a 3-1 lead, which led them to win the game. Marc-Andre Fleury made 26 saves against the Ducks, which led the Penguins to move into the first place of the Metropolitan Division, 1 point ahead of the Washington Capitals. And speaking of the Capitals, the Penguins face them on Wednesday night, November 20th. Hopefully the Penguins can pull off a win against the Capitals because they seem to be on a winning streak. And moving on to Pitt Panthers football, they won 28-21 against Notre Dame on Saturday, November 9th. This was a surprising win for Pitt since they are now 5-5. But Notre Dame hasn't been doing this well this year as they were last year since they made the BCS National Championships. And Notre Dame was ranked 24th before playing Pitt, but now they're not ranked at all. Pitt then faced the 5-5 North Carolina Tar Heels, but lost to them 34-27 on Saturday, November 16th.
Courtney, you look at the Steelers that finally kind of bounced back, starting the year off 0-4. Now you look at they've won 4 of their last 6. Yes, they're still 4-6 on the season, but they've kind of turned the corner a little bit.
Yeah, they definitely have. I mean, what can you say? They're turning the corner, definitely.
All right, thanks, Courtney. After the break, Johnny Freiwald and Phil Navatsik join me to talk about how the basketball teams did this past weekend.